Hello everyone, welcome to the Excel Basics tutorial video. We are going to talk about Microsoft Office application. It's a very powerful application in which you can do a lot of your day-to-day tasks as well as complete complex data-based activities. Excel is an easy to understand database. Uh, so let's start. To begin with, let's see how you can open Excel on your laptop or computer. First, you would have to type in Excel in the search bar in your taskbar or go to the start menu. Once you go there, you will be able to see this screen. It shows multiple options. So it shows a blank workbook, or it shows welcome to Excel, or a drop-down tutorial, many other templates. Depending on the access that you have, you may see different options here. Excel has got a lot of pre-built workbooks which you could use, but for today's demonstration, I want to start from scratch, so we'll click on blank workbook. What it does is it opens up a workbook which looks like this. Let me explain this term. This is what you call a workbook, which is Excel. But within the workbook, there are different pages. This is a spreadsheet. And just like you would have many pages in a workbook, you could have many other spreadsheets. Microsoft gives a default name of sheet 1 to the first sheet that you open. But you could add more sheets as well by clicking on the plus button here. So if you click on this button, it will create another sheet and it will give the next number. As you can see, it's giving the number sheet 2. You can always go back to the sheet where you were, and you could rename this. You could rename it by double clicking on this name and just giving it a name. I am going to give this name, this spreadsheet name, sales, and clicking in the spreadsheet itself anywhere. So that will save the name. You could also right click on the tab and just rename, use the rename option, and it will again give you the option of renaming this tab. It's that simple. On this page, you see many options on top. These are the tabs. You see the file, home, insert, draw, page layout, formulas, data, review, view, and help. These are called tabs. Under each tab, you have got many icons and buttons and entry information. Everything that you do in Excel in this white space can be done and controlled by this ribbon. You can see many options under home, as home is underlined right now. So all the options that you see from here till here are under the home tab. The insert tab has a different ribbon. As you can see, there are different icons and buttons. Same for draw, page layout, formulas, data, review, view, and help. As you can see, Excel is very intuitive. It makes it easy for a user to understand what these are with big icons wherever possible. It also gives you options, gives you more description of what they are at specific places. Finally, when you click on any option, it will also give you a more detailed description of what it is. You can get to this by just hovering over the top of any icon or button. You don't need to click it. So in this case, it is saying that this option is for underline, this is for bold. We will talk about most of these options in a little while. So let's begin with entering some data. As you can see, the spreadsheet is designed in a database format. The columns are in alphabetical order. So you have got A, B, C, D, E, and so on. And the rows are numbered. So you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The number of columns and rows should be sufficient for almost all of our basic data analysis needs. Any cell, for example, this cell is named or denoted with a column and then the row number. So you can see the name of this cell here, which is A1. In this case, it's the column A and then the number 1. If we go to this cell, for example, the name is H and 10. And you can see that whenever you select a cell, the column is slightly highlighted and the row is also slightly highlighted. And the name shows up in this box here. Speaking of names, you can define the name of this cell. Suppose you want to define the name of this cell as let's say sale. I can type it in and I can just click enter. If you want to rename it, you could just go in. Any words can be included. However, space is not allowed and most of the special characters are not allowed. Underscore works. So I can just call it sale this year. Now, let's enter some data. So I click on the first cell and I enter S dot number and I click on tab. So when I click on the tab option, the control will move from this cell to this cell. And here I would put in month, then tab, and I would put in sales. When I press enter, it comes to the line below. Now, I want to create a very simple table which will show me the monthly sales for the entire year. So I will press 1 and then enter, then 2 and then enter, and I want to go up to 12. There are a couple of ways of doing this. One, I can keep on typing 1 to 12, which in this case is easy to do because there are just 12 numbers. But if you have got a lot of data, a faster way that Excel offers is an autofill. So you could select this cell as well as this cell, and immediately you see you get an option to drag this data down. So you see a small black dot at the corner of the selection, and when you hover on top of it, the cursor becomes like a plus sign. That indicates that you could drag this information down and Excel will automatically populate the remaining cells based on the pattern that it saw. So in this case, you clicked or you selected 1 and 2. So Excel would assume that the next cell should have 3, the cell after that should have 4, and so on. So I want to go up to 12 because there are 12 months in a year. So when I go up to there, it will so I want to go up to 12 as there are 12 months in a year. So I would go up to 12, and you can see just below the plus sign, Excel also shows what the data is going to be in that cell. When I leave the my left click, it will automatically fill all of the information. The next set of data that I want to enter is the months. So I put in January and then I put in February. And then I put in February. Again, we can fill the rest of the information using the inbuilt intelligence that Excel has. So you can click on the plus sign. You can select both the cells, click on the plus sign, and just drag the information down. So now you can see it has filled all of the information from January to December. Now let's fill some sales numbers. And since this is a demonstration, we can put in just some numbers. Let's put 25, 50, 46. I will randomly put in some numbers in the cells. Okay, so there you have our table. Our next lesson is going to be on how do you format this table to make it look better. So let's say you have this table all set, you've got the correct data in it. How do we make it look better? We will use some of the options that we have in the ribbon. So for example, I would want to color the top level row in a different, let's say a blue color. So I would select all the three cells, and when I say select, I can just press the shift button and the side arrow, and all of the three cells will get selected. I could make the text within the cell bold, so I can bold it like this, or I can make it italic, or I can underline it. And for any reason, if you don't want to underline it or reverse the change, you could click it again and it will go back to the earlier state. So I don't want italic as well, but I'll let it be bold. You can change the font. There are a number of fonts that Microsoft provides. You could keep it uh, based on your preference. So let's say you want to select Arial, and you can select the font size as well. You can increase or decrease the fonts. And finally, as I said, if you want to change the color of it. So there are two color options that you can see here. One is which fills the entire cell. The other is which colors the words or the text within the cell. So in this case, I would want to color the cell as blue. So now you can see that when I clicked on that, it made the cell color as blue. Similarly, I want to put some borders around the entire table. So I do the same thing. I can select the entire table, and I can use this option here, which is the border. So I click on this and I say all the borders, which means I want to put solid lines on all borders. So I click on it, and you can see that there are borders in all the lines. You can do a lot more things. For example, you can select a specific number here, and you could make it a dollar number or a percentage sign or an actual accounting number, right? So suppose I select dollars. So you can see that it has given each number a dollar currency format. And under the under all of these options, you will see a drop down which will give you additional options, right? So under the color, you saw you could click on the down arrow and you see colors. Under this also you see a lot of colors. Every option that you have here will have a drop down of its own, which you can click and get more options. However, not everything is shown here. There are a few options which are hidden as well, and that's where you could use some of these buttons. So you see within the font section, you get this button, which is called font settings. As soon as you hover on it, you will get the details of that. And when you click on it, it will open up a pop-up which will provide you with more options. It's got number, it's got alignment options, it's got font, border, fill, and security and protections. Once we have the table in place, we are good to continue with our analysis. The analysis Once we have the table in place, you could see that you could do, once you have the table in place, you could do more formatting if you want. For example, I cannot see the whole text of September shown on screen. So I could go to the column here, and when I am between column B and column C, I see a, a small icon, and which I can, when I double click it, it will auto adjust the columns. Same for the rows as well. So now you have got a table ready. How do we save this Excel file? Saving is extremely important, otherwise you will lose all of the information that you have created and captured in this Excel file. So you can go to File tab that you see on top here and go here and do a Save As, and then it will show you all the options of saving on your desktop or saving anywhere that you like. If it's a file that has already been saved and you are reopening it, you could also use the Save option button that you see here right on top. So we have got a table ready. Now I'll show you some of the common functionalities that you may need to use. One is the sort and filtering ability. So sorting is to put your data in a certain order. So in this case, you can see that we filled the data in a certain order, which is in a serial number. So 1, 2, 3, 4 till 12. But suppose you want to sort the data alphabetically, then the order will change. So for that, you could use this option here, which is called sort and filter, and you can just click on custom sort, and here it gives you the option of which column do you want to sort it by. And in this case, I would select month because I want to sort it by alphabetical order of the months. Sort on cell values, which will be the same in this case, and then the order, whether you want to sort it from A to Z or from Z to A or any other list. So let's do A to Z. It will also ask you, there is a checkbox here which is my data has headers. In this case, yes, our data has headers. If you uncheck it, then the table, the sorting actually will use the headers as well. So let's click on OK and see what happens. So now what happened is it has sorted the data by alphabets. So April and August come on top, then December, then February, and so on. It has also taken the other columns along with it, right? And that is because we had selected this table beforehand. Now let's say you want to go back to the previous one. In general, Excel provides you with an option to undo anything that you have done and not saved. And that can be done by this option right on top, which is called undo sort. So you can click on that and it will go back to the previous option. You could also go to the sort and filter one and again try to do a custom sort, and this time you want to do it by serial number. Excel recognizes that the serial numbers are, the column has got numbers, so it will put smallest to largest as the option. You click on OK and it will come back to the way it was before. The other thing that I want to show you is filter. Now filter, when you click on that, it shows you drop downs on the topmost row, and filtering allows you to select or deselect some of the data sets that you have. So in this case, in your columns you have 1 to 12, in your rows you have 1 to 12. So when you click on it, it will give you all the options, all the rows, and you can select or unselect the row that you don't want to see. So let's say I don't want to see the row which has got serial number 2. So I click on that and I click OK. And now you can see that that row is hidden. The data is still there. It's hidden. You cannot see it. And you can realize when you look at the row numbers that the row number 3, which has got serial number 2 value, is hidden somewhere there. You could click the filter option again and just say select all, and now the data will be back. Filtering is a very powerful option where you can filter it in a variety of ways. You could filter it by comparing it with a number, or if the column contains just numbers, you can use all of these options to define a rule based on which Excel will filter and show you the data. And this is very powerful when you have got a small set of data to view, and you can analyze this data just by visually viewing the information that you have in the table. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.